I want to tell you guys a story which actually happened to me a few years ago. I was offered to attend a certain political rally by my close friend's grandma, which so happens to be a leader. You know, a purok leader. She wasn't elected into position as a leader to lead the purok. That's another kind of purok leader. She wasn't that type of leader. She was chosen, not by the people, not by God, but she was chosen because she knew a lot of people in the area. In my head, I was thinking, this is it. Naturally, it felt euphoric because I had just turned 18. It felt euphoric knowing I was finally able to do things most adults do in their free time on election day or even before, because that was before election, to get free money. Kwarta sa hangin. I heard most of the people in the benches whispered. They were filled with excited giggles. Alindahaw. Alindahaw, or however you want to say it. I heard from someone from below me said that. She was fanning herself from all the humidity. Because it was tight. I mean, it was supposed to be tight. We were supposed to look like we wanted to be there. I myself was not aware of this in the moment that I was offered. No. Scratch that. Recruited. But I think they fulfilled their goal in making it look like it. We needed to look like it did not matter if we were confined in a small space. Mind you, it was pre-COVID times, back in the day, so being jammed up in a small space together, it was alright. Recalling to the word that I said a few moments ago, alindahaw. Alindahaw is a term in Cebuano that means taligsik, or a sprinkle. I have no knowledge, zero knowledge whatsoever when the term was used first to describe election giveaways. I'm too young to know when it was firstly used. But whenever I think of the word, I feel so amazed at the first person who used it intentionally as a word to describe the money that was to be used as a teaser to the upcoming storm that was brewing within the agendas of these politicians. I have no intention to offend up politicians or to taint the names of the politicians that gave free election money, is giving free election money, or is planning to give out free election money to persuade people to vote for them. A tiny sum of alindahaw for a tiny bit of participation. I mean, don't get me wrong, in today's time, there's no such thing as free lunch. And don't even get me started on entrees. It was euphoric until the end. Because the young me, I stood there waiting. I mean, I wasn't hungry or thirsty. That was already given solution. Because we were handed out free flyers, water bottles, and snacks. Some even got to avail the free shirts. What hit me was the phrase, wala ka na appeal kay bata pa ka. Wala pa kay nahibawan. I stood there in a bittersweet stance, knowing I wasted hours standing and keeping up with the crowd, just to be denied the promised talindahaw from the leaders who were probably older than the politicians themselves. So I asked myself, how old should I be to be old enough? I was 18, almost 19 at the time. I was of legal age, had the right to vote. I was even a registered voter. But why was I refused the promised money? I wasn't desperate for it, but I clearly wasn't able to process the reason why I was denied of it for the sole reason of my age. Is politics a thing for old people? Is it a privilege granted only to them? And a little bit of background relevance to my past 18-year-old self. I was already in my first year of studying politics in this university. A few months before my second year, because that was summertime, as elections has always been on. At the very first moments of hearing what my close friend's grandma said, I was actually dumbfounded. A question pondered inside my head. My tiny, tiny head. Why do people expect younger people? Why do these older people expect the younger people to act like adults? But then they reward them like kids. This is a form of gatekeeping. Political gatekeeping, to be more exact. Or is it? Gatekeeping was first formalized by Denzel and McKay in 1983 and is referred to the political behavior of legislature committees that sought to maintain the status quo. How do we maintain the status quo as the youth? And are the younger population even part of the status quo? How old should I be to be old enough to participate in the status quo? These are just the questions that rummaged through my little young head as I still had this tiny, tiny bag of resentment inside my chest. For the underpaid hours I've wasted with my close friend's grandma. Not only that I was young, I was underpaid, I was also politically gatekept. Or was I? To keep things neutral between you and me, I didn't even vote 3 years ago. I thought that I didn't know the people that were running well enough for them to deserve my vote. Just because I thought my sole vote had the power to change the world. I'm not kidding, but that's for another topic video that we can shoot. So, let me ask again. How old do we need to be until we are treated like we are old enough? I'm not a parent myself, but parents have this behavioral mannerism of tending to their children even at the most unnecessary times, even in instances where it could significantly boost their growth. Because parents are just natural guardians. I didn't know the politicians well enough at the time because we never had a conversation inside my home. Even at the dinner table, no. Politics was also off of it. Not because they don't want us to be politically aware, but because all they see is this tiny kid they brought into the world. Perhaps all the projection is also reflecting their own childhoods. Our parents, with respect to their growing environment, they were forced to grow prematurely because of the standards of living that they had to go through. They weren't afforded the same comfort that we have right now. They may have experienced living life without a safety net. They might have been subject to standards even far more than what they have placed on us. All because of the socio-political context they were brought in. So whenever our parents gatekeep us, they don't think of the status quo. No, I don't think so. I doubt they even know that it's gatekeeping that they are doing. They're just unaware that they need to raise well-functioning adults that can decide for their own voting preferences. Some parents don't even know that they need to do that. Not some, but a huge population. Our parents think that going through the day is enough and politics is out of the conversation. Because they see us like kids, that we are thinking of other things that excite us and not the things that adults think, raise, and discuss about, right? Like politics. So we've been gatekept from politics, not for the reasons that we think we're doing it. They might have been doing it. It's just a tiny speculation that I have, but they might have been doing it because they weren't granted the same chances to be kids. They were forced to grow up, not enjoy their childhoods. So, They get mad when they engage in adult stuff. And they get mad because we don't even try to be just kids. Adults gatekeep us for the main reason that they think that kids should never try to amount or exceed the expectations that their parents have placed on them as kids. And most adults, they tend to project these expectations to other kids like me. I was expected to attend this political rally because my close friend's grandma projected her parents' expectations on me. I wasn't paid. Look, I want to tell you, I just want to clarify, I'm not bitter about this right now. That I wasn't paid just because they still saw me as a kid, even after I did the deed of an adult that they expected me to do. So the question is, how old do we need to be old enough to change this behavior? To stop the cycle, to not be silenced. In 2014, Joseph Kahn discussed how participatory politics in the digital age create many possibilities for civic and political participation. Our parents, who devoted their lives in providing us with everything they never had, may have had lapses in teaching us everything that we needed to learn, lessons and values that they lacked from their parents. But they gave us the gadgets, the platforms, and the opportunities, enabling us kids to see diverse views, not just on politics, but everything else. So despite our young ages, we have the power to be more than what our parents sees us or any other adult that sees us. Our ages are just mere numbers. We are in charge of the growth that we can go through. So live to learn and learn to live. Anyway, those are just my 2 cents. Let's not let the cycle go on. Let's break it. If they expect us to be old enough, let's let them know that we expect them to treat us like we are old enough. Don't just be another alindahao when you can be the bagyo that everyone is watching out for. My name's Aiah, and I am old enough. Thank you.